Hello everyone, welcome to Borthakur's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. I'm your friend Atreyi and today I'm here with another segment of Current Affairs 365 dated 6th of November 2021. This is your one-stop solution for any news and updates which will help you prepare for your civil services examination, and along with that it is also going to be beneficial for any other Assam state government services. So don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Facebook as well as Instagram for any further details related to job notifications. The first news of today is tagged under GS paper 3 under the subheading of biodiversity and environment. This is related to the Glasgow Leaders Declaration on Forests and Land Use. An ambitious declaration was initiated by the United Kingdom in order to halt deforestation and land degradation by 2030. However, India did not sign this as it objected to the word trade being used here in this agreement, which is being interlinked to climate change and forest issues. This declaration has recognized the fact that in order to meet our sustainable development goals along with land use, climate change and biodiversity goals, both at national and global platform, we will require a transformative approach and will have to take actions in certain interconnected areas. These areas of importance includes sustainable production and consumption, infrastructure development, trade, finance, as well as investment. And this will also help us in achieving a balance between the anthropogenic greenhouse gases emissions in order to adapt to such climate change, change in the climate. And this will, on the other hand, will also help us in maintaining other ecosystem services at the same time. This declaration has over 105 signatories, including US, Russia, China, and the United Kingdom. They have committed up to $12 billion USD in public funds from 2021 to 25. These countries, they represent 75% of the global trade and 85% of global forests. Along with that, they have also made commitments towards multilateral agreements like United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Paris Agreement, Convention on Biological Diversity, Sustainable Development Goals, and other relevant initiatives. The major highlights of this declaration includes focus on conservation of forests and other terrestrial ecosystems in order to accelerate their restoration. Then it had laid stress on sustainable development goals in order to facilitate trade and development policies both internationally and domestically. They will have to promote the sustainable development and its idea so that the sustainable commodity and production becomes commodity which are produced, they becomes available for consumption. Then the next point was related to building resilience in order to reduce vulnerability and enhance the rural livelihoods through empowering the local communities. This declaration also laid stress on recognizing indigenous rights and towards attaining financial commitments. Countries like India, Argentina, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and South Africa, they were the only G20 countries which did not agree to this declaration and therefore they did not sign the declaration. This declaration interlinks the terms trade and climate change along with forest issues. Trade, it falls under the World Trade Organization and it should not be brought under climate change declarations. India and the other members, they asked the word trade to be removed from this agreement, but it was not accepted and therefore they didn't sign this particular declaration. However, the issue of deforestation in our country is a highly debated one and the government has repeatedly said that the extent of tree cover or forest cover in our country has increased over the past few years. But the environmentalists, they have long pointed out that government is still very busy diluting the existing environmental protections in order to open them up for other infrastructure related projects. This will not only alter the forests and wildlife, but will also have an effect that is long lasting and it is going to have a negative impact on not just our generation but also the upcoming generations. Moving ahead to the next news, which is related to the Khasi Inheritance of Property Bill of the year 2021. The Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council has announced that it would introduce this Khasi Inheritance of Property Bill in 2021. This bill is aimed at equitable distribution of the paternal property among siblings in the Khasi community. If implemented, this bill would modify an age-old customary practice of inheritance of the matrilineal Khasi tribe. Now, Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council is a body under the 6th schedule of the Constitution, which does not have power to legislate. The 6th schedule of our Constitution, it provides for administration of tribal areas in the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Mizoram. This schedule, it provides safeguard to the rights of tribal population of these particular states, and the special provision is provided under two articles, Article 244(2) and Article 275(1) of the Constitution. It provides for autonomy in the administration of these areas through the autonomous district councils, which are empowered to make laws in respect of areas under their respective jurisdiction. The three tribes of Meghalaya, namely Khasis, Jaintiyas, and Garos, they practice a matrilineal system of inheritance, which means here the lineage and descent are traced through the individual's mother's clan. In other words, here the children, they take the mother's surname, husbands, they move into their wife's house, and the youngest daughter of that family is entrusted with with full share of their ancestral property. So this inheritance tradition, it applies only to the community property or ancestral property, and which has been with that particular family for many years. Self-acquired property, which the family has acquired in due course of which not just the family, but the other members of the family have acquired in due course of time, that can be distributed equally among the siblings. In a very traditional setup, if a couple does not have any daughters, then that property of the family or of ancestral background, it goes to the wife's elder sister, that couple's wife's elder sister or her daughters. And if the wife, she doesn't have any sisters, then that clan usually takes over the property. Now, coming to the effect of this system on women empowerment, many women activists, they have often pointed out that this system is just a namesake one and it rarely empowers women. Here, there is a serious issue of custodianship because it is often misconstrued as ownership vested upon just one person, that is the youngest daughter. That youngest daughter, she is given that responsibility to take care of her aged parents, unmarried or destitute siblings, and other clan members. Moreover, the custodian, she cannot buy or sell the land without taking permission from her maternal uncle. Along with that, people often they confuse the two terms of matrilineal and matriarchal. Okay, in case of matriarchal society, the women functions as heads, but here women, they rarely get to exercise any position which is in power. Okay, they have the freedom to education, easier access towards education, and the freedom of mobility, but they are not decision makers here in such families. So if this bill gets approved, then it will be focusing on providing equitable distribution of the paternal property among all the siblings, both male and female, and it would also let the parents decide who they want to give their property. This is going to prevent a sibling from getting parental property if they marry a non-Khasi individual and accept the respective spouse's customs and culture. Over the years, a few groups have also protested against this system, saying that it disinherits the men, and have also highlighted the need for equitable property distribution between all the children of that particular family. This bill aims towards economic empowerment based on principle of equitable distribution of property. The next news is related to naming of a glacier after the place Glasgow, which has organized the Conference of Parties 26th session recently. This body is a 100-kilometer long piece of ice in Antarctica, and it has been experiencing rapid melting due to climate changes. And scientists from the University of Leeds in UK, they have studied a chain of glaciers in the 𝐬𝐫𝐠 basin of Antarctica. 14 glaciers in that basin have been experiencing thinning by an average of about 25%, mainly between the years 1994 and 2018. And this is subjected to climate change, where it is, as per reports, around 315 gigatons of ice were lost from the region in the last 25 years, and this has contributed towards rising the global sea levels. Along with that, this basin, 𝐬𝐫𝐠 basin, it is a part of Antarctica's largest ice shelf, which is mostly subjected to more changeable oceanic forces. This process is one where the relatively warm deep waters, they causes the glaciers to melt from below. Along with that, other glaciers were also named based on different treaties and conferences. This is a great way to celebrate these international collaboration on climate change, science, and the policy over last few decades. Here, the observation includes huge iceberg carving events, okay, that has led to change in the flow of glaciers and has rapidly resulted in thinning of the ice there, which has got devastating impact of global warming. Now, what is carving of ice? It is a glaciological term for breaking off or mechanical loss of ice from a glacier margin. So in most cases, it is common when the glacier flows into water. Okay, it occurs when a glacier flows into water, but it can also occur on dry land, and there this process is known as dry carving. Before this process occurs, smaller cracks and fractures on the glaciers, they grow into larger crevasses and becomes way more prominent, and then they effectively gets divided into blocks. These blocks, they subsequently fall from the snout into the adjacent lake, and glacier snout is actually the terminal point or the end of that particular glacier. It is also sometimes referred to as glacial terminus or toe. The next news is tagged under GS paper 3, which is related to internal security of our country. This is regarding raising a new Army Aviation Brigade in the eastern sector of the line of actual control in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Also, the China's legislature, they have adopted a new border law which calls on the state and military to safeguard the territory and combat any acts that undermines China's territorial claims. LAC, line of actual control, is the demarcation which separates Indian controlled territory from the Chinese controlled territory. And the recent standoff at Galwan Valley of Ladakh has further escalated due to the infrastructure projects that India has undertaken in the last few years. This particular brigade, it will function largely for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance activities of the army. Along with that, it also has the capacity to support the army for other objectives projects on the line of actual control. The line of actual control is a demarcation line where between the states of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, and the Union Territory of Ladakh, along with China. The LAC is generally divided into three sectors, namely the western, middle, and eastern sector. In eastern sector, India shares a border of which is 1346 kilometer long border with China. It spans the states of Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, and the alignment of the LAC here is along the 1940 McMahon line. China considers the McMahon line illegal and unacceptable, claiming that Tibetan representatives who signed the convention, they were not having the rights to do so. And China also claims the entire state of Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet. The middle sector, here India shares about a 545 kilometer long boundary with China, and it runs along the watershed area from Ladakh to Nepal. Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, they touches this border with Tibet, and both the sides, they don't have much disagreement over the border in this particular region. Then comes the western sector, where India shares the longest border, which is of 1597 kilometer. It is in between the Union Territory of Ladakh and the Xinjiang province of China. There is a territorial dispute here over Aksai Chin. India claims it as a part of Kashmir and China claims it as a part of Xinjiang province. This border dispute pertains to the Johnson Line, which was proposed by British in 1960s. Independent India used the Johnson Line and claimed Aksai Chin as its own. Out of the 23 contested areas on the line of actual control, 11 are identified in Ladakh under the western sector, 4 in the middle sector, and 8 along the eastern sector. All these 23 contested areas, these were identified by the government through various mechanisms since the time when India first accepted this concept of line of actual control in the year 1993.
And this was all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it will be helpful. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll see you all again tomorrow with another segment of Current Affairs 365 only on Borthakur's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. Till then, take good care of yourselves and keep learning. Bye-bye.
Borthakur IAS Academy. প্রস্তুতি আৰু অধ্যয়নৰ নিৰ্ভৰযোগ্য ঠিকনা।
Borthakur IAS Academy.